the Logitech driving force shifter for the G29, G920, and G923. Released way back in 2015 and still being Logitech's only available sim racing shifter nearly 10 years later, I purchased this unit myself, and so today I'll be taking a look back at it, putting it through my review process, and determining whether the Logitech driving force shifter is still worth it in 2024. And note that if you are interested in purchasing, I've linked the lowest priced one I could find down in the video description. Looking for great deals on sim racing hardware? Make sure to check out simspots.com, where all of the best deals on sim racing, PC, and gaming peripherals are posted daily. Literally, the site is completely free to use, free of ads, and just lets you know of discounted sim racing hardware for you to save some cash. Get into sim racing or upgrade your gear today at simspots.com. Designed from the ground up for entry-level sim racers, a key aspect of this shifter's massive popularity has undeniably been its affordable price tag. Consistently retailing at around the $60 mark, this shifter, for the longest time, was the only sim racing H-pattern shifter available at this price point. That is, until very recently with the release of the Thrustmaster TH8S and other smaller companies beginning to target this segment, but even then, none are more affordable than this. From a build quality perspective, I do have to admit this shifter is of pretty solid quality. Its housing is made primarily of injection molded plastic with a full leather boot and hand stitched knob, accenting its sleek and realistic look. I do have to admit that, performance aside, this is one thing that this shifter does better than even much higher end ones in the market. The minimalistic design and leather components not only look but feel great, and compared to its competitors at this price tag, it is without a doubt one of the best looking from a design perspective alone. Worth noting, however, is that this shifter is very small in size. Great for those racing on a desk or without a lot of space, but it will be impacting its in-game performance, something I'll touch upon soon. Designed with beginners in mind, the Logitech driving force shifter does an excellent job at accommodating all types of mounting situations. If you're racing on a desk, two small table clamps can easily be adjusted up and down with the two knobs visible on the top. By turning these either left or right, you will see the clamps open and close, and once you have it perfectly set on your desk, you can lock in these knobs by pushing them down. Conversely, if you have a dedicated sim racing cockpit or wheel stand, this entire table clamp can be easily unattached by removing its four small screws. Once the table clamp is off, you will see two M6 mounting holes for you to hard mount the shifter onto your rig. It's worth noting that both mounting options work perfectly fine. Since this shifter does not require much force to use, even on a desk slamming through gears, you won't find any problems with it moving around. Made from hand-stitched leather, the knob is also of nice quality, albeit I'm not a fan of the little plastic tab they placed here, which does take away from its feel. The knob is smaller in size but does the job and feels comfortable in hand. If you don't like the knob, it can easily be replaced by removing the plastic tab and the small screw located inside. From there, the knob will slide right out and you're left with a metallic shaft where you can add a third-party knob of your own. And on this subject, the third-party mods available for the shifter are a huge bonus and one thing that many people don't talk much about. You see, with the vast popularity of the shifter, there are literally hundreds of third-party modifications designed to increase its in-game performance, its looks, or even its full function, as ways to convert this to a handbrake or sequential shifter also exist. So now I've talked about the build quality, its features, third-party modifications, and its styling. But before moving on to its in-game performance, there is one major drawback of the shifter that I must first cover, and that will be its compatibility. You see, what I believe is single-handedly the Logitech driving force shifter's biggest drawback is that it is only designed to be used alongside a Logitech G920, G29, or G923 wheelbase. That's because instead of including a USB cord like every other mainstream shifter, this one comes with a special DB9 cable that can only plug into a Logitech wheelbase, meaning that if you ever upgrade your wheelbase or don't have a Logitech wheelbase to begin with, you won't be able to actually use it. The reason they did this is to maintain the shifter's console compatibility, meaning that if you have a G29 and plan on using it on PlayStation, plugging this shifter into the wheelbase will allow you to use it on PlayStation as well, and vice versa with Xbox on the G920. Now at this point, you may be completely disappointed as you realize the shifter won't work with your current setup. The good news, however, is that there are a few workarounds if you are in this situation. The first is to purchase a third-party adapter on Amazon. I found this one, for example, for $32 and I've linked it in the video description as well. This adapter will create a USB output for you to plug into your PC, although you will lose its console compatibility. If you don't want to lose console compatibility, Logitech now offers the Logitech G Racing adapter for $40. It does a few things, but notably with regard to the shifter, will allow you to gain that compatibility on PC or consoles even when using different wheels or pedals. And now the third and the worst option, and the way I'm using a Simagic wheelbase alongside this shifter on PC, is by, and please don't roast me in the comments, is by having this shifter plugged into your Logitech wheelbase and having two wheelbases connected to your PC and only using the Logitech wheelbase to provide the shifter compatibility and nothing else. This is a super niche solution which, unless you're very desperate, I wouldn't recommend, as it just makes no sense. Anyways, compatibility aside, let's talk about the shifter's in-game performance. In previous years, I've been fairly critical of the underwhelming shifting feel of this product, and coming back to it a long time later, it's actually not as bad as I remember it being. Now, the shifting feel here is very light. Simply put, there is very little force needed to actuate the gears, and you won't be getting that mechanical shifting feel or tactile sensation you would expect to feel in a real car. However, in terms of mimicking the physical action of driving with a manual transmission, it does do that. At the end of the day, despite the light resistance here, you will still get the sensation of flowing through the gears, so in terms of adding that level of immersion, it does do the job. It's very much worth noting that with the small size of the shifter, the travel between the gears is very minimal. On one hand, this gives the feeling of a short shifter, but on the other, it can make misshifts a more common occurrence. I found myself on rare occasions slipping up the gears, but it's always hard to tell whether that's a fault of this product or just a skill issue.
We've had the meatball flag. Right. Press and hold the reset button and we'll come and get you.
On track, this shifter's 6-speed mechanism will be enough for 99% of manual cars out there, and apart from just having 6 individual gears, it also has a completely separate one for reverse, which can be accessed by pushing down on the shifter knob and slotting it into the 6th gear position. But yes, all in all, this shifter will not be perfectly mimicking the feel or performance of a real H-pattern mechanism, and is nowhere close to as good as much higher end sim racing shifters. Moreover, as opposed to its main competitor, the $70 Thrustmaster TH8S, the shifter can also not have its resistance adjusted, meaning that unless you modify it yourself, the resistance you feel here is the resistance you get. However, in my personal opinion, for the $60 price tag of this product, I would say that the shifting feel is acceptable. At the end of the day, you're getting what you pay for, and when it comes to an entry-level product with an entry-level price tag, I can't be expecting anything other than entry-level performance, which is exactly what I'm getting here. In conclusion, the Logitech Driving Force shifter, despite its age and the emergence of new competitors in the market, remains a viable option for sim racers, especially for those just beginning their journey into the world of sim racing or those on a tight budget. Its standout features such as the solid build quality, aesthetic appeal with leather components, and the extensive third-party mod support combine to offer an impressive package for this price point. While its compatibility limitations and the somewhat underwhelming shifting feel compared to higher-end models are notable drawbacks, the overall value proposition is hard to ignore. For those who can work around its limitations or are willing to invest in adapters for wider compatibility, the Logitech Driving Force Shifter continues to offer a cost-effective way to enhance the sim racing experience. Whether it's for adding immersion to your sim racing setup or just experimenting with manual gear shifting, this shifter, even nearly a decade after its release, still proves that it can hold its own in the ever-evolving sim racing market. Remember that I've linked the lowest price one I could find in the video description, and I've also made a completely separate video where I compared this shifter to many others. But anyways, with all that said, I hope this video helped out, and as always, thank you all for watching, stay safe, and have a fantastic rest of your day.